Hello everyone, welcome back to our Yellow Cow Chat session. We meet here every Friday to talk about different issues happening in the workplace, life, and everything in between. Well, I'm your host, Nancy Mbogoro, and before I dive deep into this discussion, I would like to join with other Tanzanians, my fellow Tanzanians, to mourn the death of our former president, Dr. John Pombe Magufuli. This is a tough period, but I would say I urge all of you to stay strong and have faith, because now we have a new president, Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan, and let's work together in supporting her and building our nation. And today's today's discussion is very special as well, and even my guest here with me is also very special, to talk about future female leaders. So in the wake of having a new president who is not just any president, first female president in Tanzania, Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan, we want to look at leadership traits that women should possess, or they can learn in order for them to rise up into the ladder, to take up leadership positions, to grow into that position. What support do they need, and how can they, where can they gain this support, where can they gain these skills? So I have here with me, I'm going to let her introduce herself. Some of you already know her, but she will introduce herself and give us a little bit of her experience and her, I would say, her reflections into this topic for future female leaders. Who is a future female leader? What qualities should she have? And how can you become a future female leader? If you're not a female leader right now, it's not too late. You can still become a future female leader. So, karibu sana. Please introduce yourself so the viewers out there can know you. Mm-hmm. And of course, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, feel free to shoot them in the comment section, and we will be happy to read and share your thoughts with others. Karibu.
Thank you so much, Nancy. It's an honor to be joining you here today.
Yeah.
As you said before, we're in a mourning period, but we are also moving forward as a nation with a new leader, with a new president, Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan. And as you said, it's the first time we're having a female president. So there are already a lot of speculations and a lot of thoughts on how she will lead. But as for me, I see hope. I see that we are moving forward. And
the future is bright.
I believe that she will do an amazing job. So I believe that all is required is to give her all the needed support and as our leader, and we should look up to her as our leader.
Very well. Okay, so before we get into it, we would like, probably our viewers want to know you. So can you tell them who you are and what you do?
Well, thank you, Nancy. My name is Anabahati Mlay. I work in gender and development. I am much invested in women, especially women in the world of work, as to how women are engaged, how women are part of the decision making in the workplace, and how the workplace is accommodative of women. So that is what I do the most. So I work with a lot of women, in leadership, especially corporate.
We can say that you're the right person to talk about future female leaders, because you are well invested in grooming and making sure that you are bringing up a generation of future female leaders. So in your experience as a person who deals with women in management, what are the skills, the essential skills, leadership skills that are needed for women to become future leaders?
To answer that, I would like to start by saying that when you want to speak about leadership in the future, I believe it will just be leadership. Whether you are a male or a female, it will be more about what the future requires of you as a leader. And as we all know that there's so much changing, that there's so many changes happening, especially a lot to do with science and technology. So for you to be a leader, you should also be someone who who is ready and willing to understand these changes. You should be someone who can communicate well, and someone who is visionary, that you can lead. You can lead people who are going through changes continuously. You also have to, I believe, you also have to be someone who is willing to learn every time, because of the nature of change. You must be agile. You must have that capacity to really move with the pace. But also you must be someone who can sit back and reflect and look back and see how we are moving ahead as a leader. And I also believe that for the future, if you have to be a great leader, then you also have to have empathy. I believe in that as well. You must have empathy, understanding, and especially understanding people, because we keep thinking that it's going to be machine learning and this and that, but I believe that empathy will also be a part of it.
Empathy will also be part of it.
So I believe for any leader, and it's not just female leaders will also be leaders as leaders. So you have to make sure that you are ready and willing to learn and change and bring up a team as a visionary person, communicate the vision, and make sure that you don't leave the people behind. That's where empathy should come in.
Very interesting answer as well, because you've taken the context from whether it's in the future, a leader is a leader, male or female. But in this context, let's look at a future female leader in the aspect that women are currently, from the past and still up to today, we are kind of challenged by different scenarios or situations that make it hard for us to get into leadership decisions, leadership positions. So when we say future female leaders, these are leaders that have grown out of these challenges and have been able to step up from these challenges and overcome them, and be able to take up these positions and influence decisions. So in your perspective, in your thinking, in your opinion, currently, what are the factors hindering women to become leaders, that now we're talking of them becoming future leaders after going through all these, overcoming these challenges?
Well, from where we are sitting now, what is really troubling a lot of women, they're the biases, the stereotypes, which affect a lot of things, including the policies we have, including the mentality we have at the workplace. Like some people don't believe that they can be led by women. You have seen the discussions on the internet questioning if the next president will be able to lead just because she's a woman and things like that. So it's more of stereotypes and biases. But now picking from there, for women who wants to become leaders for now and for the future, they really have to know of the existing biases, and some of them are internalized. As a woman, you have them and you don't know, and these affect how you confidently speak, how you position yourself, how you go out there and seek for these positions. But if a woman really wants to get into leadership, they should first take time to learn. There's a lot of learning to do, but also they should also be strategic. The positioning is very important. They should also have people to hold that can hold their hands as they want to get into leadership. Here I'm talking about having mentors, having sponsors, having people to help you to move a step further. But then it's not just about the women. Even the organizations themselves should be very intentional about having more female leaders, by making sure that the policies are accommodative.
Do you think people or organizations are supporting this simply because we need more women, or is it because they truly believe that there is value in having a balanced, gender in leadership in decision-making positions?
I'll tell you one thing. some organizations have already understood that it's good for the business. And of course, there's so many other things that come with it. You look good to the society, supporting.
You can brag about it.
Yes, you can brag about it. But speaking about organizations, I've seen a number of organizations that are moving towards being intentional about it. Organizations that are doing gender audits, are having policies against things like harassment, and making sure that the workplace is accommodative. Because let me tell you one thing: if you want to have women at the top management, you have to make sure that you keep them at the middle, and this is where most women leave the workspace, as you know, because of responsibilities, other responsibilities, gender roles, reproductive roles. Most women at that age, when they're getting into the middle positions, some of them get into become mothers or wives, and sometimes it can get overwhelming. And if the organization doesn't have policies and intentionally have in place ways of retaining these women, then they get out of the workspace. Some go and find it so hard to re-enter the workplace, so they decided to get into other stuff. And some, when they come back, it's a bit, others have gone far from them, and so it's about retaining women at this level, which makes it so hard to have women at the top at the top management. So if we really want to have women at the top management, we should find ways to make sure that we retain them, we keep them when they're at the middle.
But is this drive for change driven by, should it be an initiative by women themselves that we want to advance, or should it be from a top down, meaning that the organization should look and say, oh, we have women, or a little bit of both?
It's both. Both. You know what they say, you can take a lass to
the river,
but you can't force it to drink. So
Yeah.
I would say it's for both. Organizations should be intentional about it because it's good for business.
Communicate it,
and
right?
communicate it. But also a woman herself has to be intentional about it. She should also want it. She should also aim for it. And I always tell women it's important to communicate your vision. Like, share your vision with your supervisor, with your executive director, with the person who has that responsibility to know and understand where you're going in the next 5 years, so that when you get into an organization, you position yourself in a way that you are moving upward. Because what happens is sometimes you get in an organization because you don't have a plan. You keep moving across departments, which is good that you're learning, but you're not moving in a way that will help you grow upwards as quickly as you could if you were intentionally about it, because you go to departments that will help you grow upwards quickly. So there are things like that. Communication is very important. It's key.
Interesting. Now, okay, so what unique angle or what unique value do you think women bring when they occupy leadership positions? That is different from when a man is in that position. And in line to that question, can you also tell us if there are differences in the leadership style between men and women? Yes.
I will tell you, there's a different style between everyone. Even between us as women, our leadership styles will be completely different because of our innate characteristics and behaviors and things like that. But there are notable differences between men and women, and that's what people interpret or incorporate in the style of leadership they expect from men and women. But if I might to say, I must say, I believe that having more women brings a different perspective. So you have, it's being inclusive. So being inclusive gives you more ideas. There's more you get to understand about another. You say women makes more than 50% of the world population. You get to have ideas of the 50% of the population incorporated as well. But then there are now these different characteristics that women have from men, and some people used to interpret them as weakness, which is completely wrong. Things like women are more empathetic than men. And I remember I was reading the book of Satya Nadella, Hit Refresh. He actually mentioned that it's a very good leadership quality, empathy, because now you can connect with people more.
Yeah.
And whatever products we are making, whatever, no matter how we'll change, science and technology will come, and you'll always have to look at the people. So that is that women bring that as well with them, and then it's known that women are also very they are very thoughtful when it comes to whatever the products and everything. They look at the society as much
because
as
of the nurturing nature.
As much as we look at profit, women are likely to also look at the social impact of what we are doing, and which is important for the society. So they also bring that to the table, and so many other beautiful characteristics. And I tell people that those are not a weakness, as most people believe they are. Actually, a lot of research shows that female leaders are very when you have a female leader, she will do an amazing job. It's we regardless of what characteristics they have, because it also drops down to an individual.
It goes down to an individual,
yes,
who she is as a person.
Definitely, and that's what will help you to create your leadership style. Trust me, we say women are empathetic, but you hear of female leaders who have no empathy at all.
Yeah.
So
we've heard of women who are not, they do things that are not expected of them in the society, in the eyes of the society, and
I think that's another good quality. They don't see you coming, and I think that people don't see you coming because they expect this because of these predefined characteristics, predefined expectations, that because she's a woman she'll act this and that, and then something different happens. So there are so many misconceptions around women in leadership. We've seen some. I've heard some misconception, like when a woman is a leader or just higher in a certain position or rank, they become what can I say, what's the word, they become, I would say, aggressive in a negative way, that you can't they even lose that quality of being nurturing and empathetic, and because they're up there. You know what happens is when a woman rises to such a position, when you rise to a very high position, it comes with a lot of responsibilities, and because people are expecting you to be easy on them, motherly, then they can't take the fact that you are there as a leader, not as a mother. So when you show them leadership, they want to see that motherly side. And this is what happens in most cases when you really talk to these people. The character that is coming out of that woman is very common with a lot of men, of male leaders, but because it's a woman and they had those preconceived biases and misconceptions, then they expect that this woman will come here and mother us and baby us and we can get away with things, and all of a sudden she's like, no, this is how it's supposed to be done, and it's supposed to be done this way. And then of course some women fall under so much pressure and have to toughen up because of the way people treat them, because of the way people, it's like we impose our expectations on them as leaders and not let them be, not let them lead. True. So some women choose to become tougher.
So it's like they have to put on a shell in order for them to get through.
Yes, some do, and some are doing just the basic, but because it's coming from a woman, then they term her aggressive and things like that. But it's more of she's just putting her foot down. She's just not letting things that are not worthy go past her and things like that. So in most cases, it's they're doing the basics, the very basics, what any other leader would have done in their position. But because they're women, then people look at them from that angle, from that preconceived bias that because she's a woman, she's supposed to be softer and things like that.
How do we overcome this? Because I feel like we're always talking about this. I mean, in your own way, how were you able to overcome, and what message do you send out to these women that you encounter in your projects? What do you tell them?
I think when you are a leader, you really have to take time to understand who you are, understand your strengths, understand your weaknesses, understand, and this is what will help you to shape your leadership style. Because I was reading the other time about humor and how a leader who has a sense of humor is more accepted by people, is more appreciated, is more understood, is more relatable and things like that. So if you have that in you and you know that you have it in you, then you can use it for your advantage. So it's more about finding out the qualities that you have as a person that can enhance your leadership. But also, I keep telling people, leadership is something you can learn. People go to school for it.
Okay.
Yes. I believe that if you are a leader, you are constantly learning. And this is what can help you to also shape you to make sure that you are leading. And because that's the most important thing. So if you feel like you need to do it, you can enroll into programs that, teaches you, coaches you, prepare you to become a better leader. So that you will so that you will serve the purpose of you having that position.
Awesome. So, Awesome. All right, I think we are winding up our discussion. And just on a parting note, we need more leaders. We need more female leaders in the community, in organizations, in order to balance decisions, to balance outcomes, have an integrated approach or, solutions that have all inputs from both sides. What do we do to support these women? What can the community do to support more women to come up and to show up? And just on your take, like your final take, what do you tell these women that are going to be future leaders or are currently occupying leadership positions?
Okay. As for the society, is starting to raise female leaders from the very young age. Encourage young girls to lead, encourage them to speak up, encourage them, nurture them in a way that they are confident, because you need confidence when you're a leader. Encourage them to, when I say encourage them to speak, it's because you need to be persuasive if you are a leader, because people need to believe in you. So it's very important to nurture communication skills, people skills. And if you're a woman and you want to get into leadership, position yourself for leadership. Volunteer to lead from a very young age if you can. If you can't, get ready, learn, enroll yourself in different courses. But for you to lead, you also have to be current. So you really have to be updated. Take time to learn a lot of things. Take time to understand a lot of things. Take time to also know people. I believe if you are a leader, you really have to know people and understand people.
You need a support system.
You need a support system. So create that support system. And for organizations, I will urge them to have an enabling environment. If we want to retain these women, make sure that the environment is supportive for women who maybe think about it when you have a space at the workplace where someone can come with your child and you can breastfeed them and they can go, or you can lay down for a minute, like have a workspace which is supportive so that these women don't run away from the workplace. So I believe that, but as for women, I think the most important thing is to be yourself, be there, lead. Don't shy away from it. Don't shy away from it.
I read a quote from a famous a musician here in Tanzania, and he wrote that women actually just don't know it, but they're natural leaders. I mean, we're born to lead our families. Yes, men are head of the family, but we're the ones managing the house, so we're naturally leaders. You make sure your kids are up, they've had breakfast, gone to school, the house is tidy. Without knowing, you're actually practicing leadership skills.
I think as a woman, you start leading from a very young age, and the only disconnect that there is being told that that is leadership, being encouraged that do more of that.
You've been doing it all along.
Yes, being pointed into the right direction. I think that's what is a missing link. And of course, there are the cultural biases that as a woman you cannot. You can lead up to here. You can lead the household, but
you can't go
in these other things you shouldn't. So those are the things that you remember. Like when you were growing up, you're told, if you say you wanted to be maybe an engineer or a doctor, and people will say, how many years will that take? Thank God you have moved past that a lot. But there's some places where this is still a problem. So those small, I won't call them small, but those issues used to limit women to think of themselves as going further. But now that we are going through, we are also evolving as a society. I believe that more women will be seeing a lot more women in leadership.
There's a wave of awareness.
Yes, and I believe for our nation now, having a female president, it will be such an inspiration to a lot of young girls.
And it will change. I believe it will change a mindset.
About
men.
Leadership.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just men. And I tell people there's a lot of internalized biases. And those can hold you back even more than the ones.
External ones.
Yes. So I believe I believe some more women are dreaming now of becoming leaders. I've seen posts on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram of women pledging to do more, pledging to become leaders, pledging to take more positions. So I think that is very impactful. We are living in an amazing time.
Amazing. And we thank Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan for sparking this fire and this flame in these young women's hearts and minds, that they can also become leaders, they can also become presidents. And we hope that our counterparts, men, also learn from this period that, hey, you can give us the space and we can also do wonders for everyone's benefit. So I think this is a very nice way of us winding up this month of women. I think it was a great discussion. Thank you so much. You've shared so much. For me, what stood out in this was you need to keep yourself updated as a woman. You need to just be ambitious and driven. Know what you want and find ways to get there. Go for it. So this was a great discussion with Anabahati. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, we have a wonderful platform called The Movement. You want to share your ideas. You've been inspired by this month and by things that are happening right now in the world, in the country. Please put up your article on The Movement. It's very easy. Go onto our website, www.empowered.co.tz, and create a mover profile where you can also post all of your articles and your ideas, and they'll be shared with the world. But also, please do not forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our pages on social media. We share a lot of good content and amazing information that will help you in the work, in life, through various ways of through different content that we share. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, our viewers. Until next time, Nancy Bogor signing out. Yellow Couch. Bye bye. Thank you.